Welcome back. Well, UK Prime Minister, as I said, Boris Johnson looks to be considering a change to his decision to allow China's Huawei to build Britain's 5G network after growing concern from his own MPs over the Chinese investment.
Absolutely right to be concerned about investment, to be concerned about the buying up of UK technology now by countries that may not always may have ulterior motives, and we are certainly bringing forward measures to ensure that we protect our technological base.
It does make me want to get a brush out and get to that hair. I tell you what, it's time for our international panel, though. Joining me now, former Senator Cory Bernardi in Adelaide and the Daily Telegraph's opinions editor and Sky News Outsider co-host, James Morrow in Sydney. Well, hallelujah, hey, Cory.
Hallelujah, Peter. And I think you should take some of the credit. You've done interviews with UK politicians and former UK politicians to raise awareness of this and the concerns both over there and over here. There is a global network that is slowly waking up to the problem that is the Communist Party of China, their level of infiltration into governments, quasi-government bodies, educational institutions. They are undermining international sovereignty for individual nations, and hallelujah that the UK and Boris Johnson are finally aware to one of their mechanisms in which they're doing it. Peter?
James, what do you think has been the step change here? Is it just the timing of this virus and all the, I guess, bravery people have now speaking out? I mean, all of these things we're talking about tonight, they're all talked about behind closed doors in most Western countries. It's just for the first time in a long time they're being spoken about publicly. Is it the timing of the virus, or do you think perhaps he's had a reality check? People like Ian Duncan Smith and others in the Commons have said to him, we just can't support you on this.
Yeah, look, I think when he first went out with his 5G policy and said, oh, no problem, the Huawei, whatever, after the election, everybody, the reaction, on your show and around the world was, hold on a second, this is not going to work. And I think it was a confluence of events. The virus has only been one part of it, but I think that he will have gotten the security advice on this. He will have been made to understand that no company succeeds in China unless it is closely tied to the Communist Party of China. There's an American professor named Balding who's done some fantastic research where he has gone and found that pretty much all of the executive team and right down through all the major researchers and everybody connected with Huawei all have very close links to the Communist Party and particularly to the armed forces in China. When all of that comes into play, he suddenly would have been made to realize this puts the entire Five Eyes relationship in jeopardy, because literally information could not be shared with Britain if China had that level of infiltration in their telecommunications network. So, as you say, hallelujah, and I just wish you would get a haircut.
Yeah, I'm a hairbrush or a haircut. I reckon sometimes, though, Cory, stuff up beats conspiracy every time. I think perhaps Boris Johnson, landed in the top job, made a whole lot of decisions, a lot of MPs do, without actually getting their head across the brief. Maybe he hadn't got the right material put in front of him. But to make that decision seemed to me to be pretty foolhardy and not well thought through. So perhaps he's been threatened with, expulsion from the Five Eyes in all but name, or maybe he's had the briefings now that he can see this through the prism he should have seen it from in the beginning.
Well, Peter, we both know what happens in the intensity of government. Something's put in front. Often to their eternal regret, and I think maybe Boris Johnson was in that space. But I do remember they were justifying it and rationalising it by saying Huawei was already in the telecommunications infrastructure in the UK, and they tried to explain it away that there was nothing to see here, as if admitting you'd made a mistake originally wasn't a wise thing, and we know that often in politics is a bad sign as well. But this coronavirus has changed the game, because those who were previously too sheepish to speak up against the authoritarian nature and the insidious undermining of national sovereignty by the Chinese Communist Party are now prepared to do it. And maybe a bit of backdoor work with the Five Eyes nations and and suggesting that Boris, you reconsider, has taken place. But however it got there, good-o, he's done it. I think this is a very smart decision, and I think we need more cooperation between, the Anglosphere to look after each other's interests, because no one else is right now.